And that's it. We right click this, we go to make selection or stroke path. Probably stroke path will be better. Let's do with the brush. Okay. Now press escape a few times to get rid of the paths. Now we have a nice white curve. Now we can move this around. I'm going to move it around right here maybe. And change the opacity to very short amount. Probably around 10. Now we duplicate this layer. We move it over a bit. Command or Control T, or go to Image, Edit, Transform, Free Transform, or Scale. Now we're going to scale it down a bit. Right click, change the Distort a bit. Just make it look completely random, like it's not a complete copy. And then move it up a bit. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Duplicate it. And I'm using Control J on Windows, Command J on Windows, or Command J on Mac. Or you can just drag this down to the new layer icon to duplicate. Do the same thing, move it a bit upwards. And if it turns out I have snap on and it turns out I want something between here and here, I just go to View, turn snap off for now. And then I get to put it wherever I want to. Control T on Windows, Command T on Mac to do free transform. Let's do distort again. Let's make it look completely weird. And right click, go to scale, and then I'm going to hold Alt so it scales both in the, it keeps the perspective. Like if we hold Alt and move it in the width, it does it on both sides. Alright. So that looks pretty nice. You can select all three and move them around. Alright, now I'm actually going to do a little effect here to change the opacity lower on the largest and smallest effect, slightly lower on the middle effect, and there we go. So the biggest curve has a higher opacity than the smallest curve. So now that might be too low to see, but that's what I added on the original Sprite. Then you can do all sorts of effects here, but to keep the tutorial and content simple, I'm just going to leave it like this. Alright, so we got half the ship. So now, above the effects copy to, let's make a new folder by going down to the very bottom and clicking new folder, the third icon from the last one. Create new group. And let's call it left half. Select the effects copy to, hold shift and go to the wing, drag that into the left half. And then we can click the little arrow on the left half, and that's our completely left half of our sprite. So now what we need to do is go to image, canvas size, and double 650 to 1300. Move the left half to the farthest side on the left. Command J, or can't do that on there. Click the left half, drag it into the duplicate on the icon at the bottom. Command T on Mac, Control T on Windows, gives us a free transform. Right click, flip horizontal. So now we have the right side. Now zoom in as close as you can and match this up. That looks pretty nice. And what we can do here is just do a simple patch job. So let's do layer, new layer. And it would have been easier if we could just save the stroking to the very end, but that gets a little bit complex. So we just want to do simple patching up here. Go to the colors swatch, color picker, and let's select the color of our turret head. And in the patching up, select the rectangular marquee tool, and let's just select where the center stroking occurs. And go to the very bottom and find out where it ends. And then I'm actually in the middle of a different stroke here, so I'm gonna. This is called the quick mask. I typed the letter Q to go in here, and then Command T on Mac or Control T on Windows to free transform the selection. Then I'm gonna accept it, and then Q again. So now I have a new selection, and then Alt backspace to fill it in with the new color. So there's our sprite. Now it's a little bit too straight. It's not as weird, but you can add sort of effects later on by going to the left side. Change the left half copy to right half. Let's go to the left half group. Let's go to the wing and let's add a blending options. And you can add a gradient overlay. And you can actually delete the right side, do the gradient overlay, and then recopy it. Or if you want to do it completely random, you can do that as well. And just mess with the sort of blending options and all sorts of stuff. Set the overlay so now it looks kind of nice. Set the scale, manipulate the scale. Reverse it, whatever you want to do. And then you can do pattern overlay if you want. Change the opacity a bit. Change the size to very small. So now it looks like if we zoom in using the pattern overlay, you can see little dots. So it doesn't look completely perfect. We're getting a more random look to it now. So just mess with the blending options a bit. And then you can make your own patterns later on. I'm not going to discuss this. Since this is the first content video, I'm just discussing how to get the trace nicely to the actual sprite itself. Then change the opacity to a smaller amount. Now, if you don't want to delete the right side, you can right-click the wing, go to Copy Layer Style, go to the right side, right half, right-click the wing on here, and go to Paste Layer Style. So it does duplicate it. So let's go to the center and do the same thing. Turret head, go to blending options. Let's go to gradient overlay and let's make it a radial. Set the point towards the center. Doesn't have to be exact, but close enough. And set it to overlay as well. Set the scale up a bit. Set the opacity down a bit. Okay. Right click the turret head in the left half. Go to copy layer style. Go to the right half. Go to the turret head. Go to paste layer style. Now when you paste it, this is the difficulty in pasting it. We need to go back to the gradient